What's up, gamers? I hope you guys are all having a great day today. I can honestly say that I am, dude, because probably one of the most exciting things to happen to me recently happened to me today, and overall, dude, I'm still kind of shook. That's right, guys. I was finally able to secure the 3090, bro. I now own a BF GPU. It gets here on Thursday, and honestly, man, I am so excited for this thing. I was not thinking I was going to get one of these until like 2021, bro, the way these things have been selling out. Like, to be honest, I was almost at the point where I was about to pay resale just so I could write it off of my taxes this year, but overall, dude, I was so hyped. I got an email from EVGA. They said I had 5 hours to check out, and I did it immediately. As soon as I got that email, bro, I checked out as fast as humanly possible, and I got my hands on it, man. I'm just so excited. It gets here Thursday. I literally cannot wait, and overall, it is going to be absolutely insane. But anyway, guys, that brings us to the topic of today's video. Sorry for rambling there a little bit, but we are going to be talking about just two of the greatest YouTube videos I think I've seen in quite a while, dude. Like, these are pretty impressive, but the title of the first video we're going to be watching here, which we're not going to watch the entire video because, you know, I need you to save some brain cells for the second one because that's where things are going to really take a turn for the worse. But anyway, the title of this video we're going to be watching first is Sony Did It. They just saved console gaming with huge PS5 last minute update. Now, this video is absolutely fantastic, dude. Like, I don't even know if I can try to explain this, bro. I think the title says it all. So I think without further ado, guys, sit back, relax, and, you know, just prepare yourself for some of the dumbest shit you've heard in your entire life.
Sony today was giving out multiple PlayStation 5 updates, and this is really good news. This is stuff that's time really to get everybody hyped up. We are below the 1 month period to which we are going to be getting our PlayStation 5s, and it's in a very exciting time, and so Sony obviously is going to piggyback on that and keep the excitement rolling. Think of it as a snowball rolling down a hill. It's going to keep picking up more snow, and that's the excitement levels that Sony looks like they're going to be trying to attract by making these types of announcements.
Just wait till you guys hear what this amazing announcement is that Sony came out with that has literally created the biggest hype for a video game console in all of human history, bro. It's not video games, it's not a controller, it's not the price point, and it's not the graphics either, dude. Like, this is gonna absolutely blow your mind. You will understand why this video is titled Sony Did It. The PlayStation 5 is saving gaming, bro, because, you know, in all honesty, this is probably one of the most exciting things I think I've ever heard in my entire life.
Again, I feel like Sony is definitely on the right page with me as a gamer, and I'm sure if you're watching my channel, they're probably on your same page as well. Getting into some of the updates that they are actually kind of giving us on the PlayStation 5, they're updating things for the future, and this is stuff, some of it sounds like stuff that maybe should have been done previously. There's a new library section on the PlayStation site.
That's right, guys. You heard it here first. Sony updating their online store is what is saving console gaming, confirmed. You know, this is the biggest shift in the industry I think I've ever seen, bro. You know, they have done so much for gaming with this decision that, honestly, I really can't even put it into words, dude. But honestly, this is so fucking sad, man. This takes console wars clickbait to a completely different level. Like, even the top comment of this video is literally roasting this motherfucker. It says, "It finally happened, boys. Sony has updated their store. Console gaming has been saved. It's a miracle. Women and children are dancing in the street. Grown men are crying. Console gaming is saved." Seriously, though, I'm a Sony guy, but this idiot is an embarrassment. See ya all later. I'm off to bash my head against a wall for 30 minutes. And I mean, that's a completely natural reaction to have after watching a crap gamer YouTube video. But, you know, we are now at the point now where Sony fanboys are claiming that Sony updating their fucking online store is somehow saving fucking console gaming, dude. You literally cannot make this shit up.
It actually lets you manage your PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5 game downloads and filter your subscriptions as well. So according to this, Sony has launched a new section on their PlayStation site that gives users access to their whole game library for PS4 and PS5.
Oh my god, guys, I'm just like so happy I could live to see this day, dude. You know, we have come so far. I am so proud of this community. Thank you so much, Sony, for everything you've done to make gaming a better place in 2020.
Gaming.
While users can currently access a download list from the PlayStation Store via web browser, the new library site lets users look at all their purchases along with to sort them between PlayStation Plus and PlayStation Now titles. Users can also force download games from a download option under each title.
Dude, I'm just like absolutely blown away. Isn't this been like a feature of the PlayStation 4 since like 5 or 6 years ago? Like, I'm pretty sure you could do remote downloads almost close to day one, but you know, maybe I'm wrong. You know, this is obviously saving console gaming, so who am I to judge? But that kind of brings us to the second video that I want to watch here today. Now, this is a video from one of the biggest PlayStation fanboys on YouTube, which, I mean, it's kind of appropriate to do Crap Gamer and then this guy because they're almost identical, bro. Both of them were hardcore Xbox fanboys. Like, these motherfuckers had channels dedicated to nothing but hyping up Xbox. Then all of a sudden, when that ad revenue started kicking down because the Xbox One X completely fucking flopped and everyone's hype for it completely died down, they needed to move to the popular console to keep that ad revenue up. And you know, I do respect the hustle, but we're going to be talking about MGB or MB. Fuck, dude, I can't remember. Is it MGB or MBG? I'm not like actually gonna bother to look it up, to be honest, but you get the fucking point, dude. Really great YouTube channel overall. He's like the quartering of video games, dude. He takes like the most minute topic and stretches that shit out to 12 to 15 minutes long. But anyway, you know, that's beside the point. We are going to be taking a look at this video titled PS5 UI Reveals a True Next Generation Leap, and it shocks. Xbox Series X UI currently runs at 1080p. Now, the title of this video is very reminiscent of Crap Gamer, okay? This dude has obviously followed Crap Gamer's example, like I mentioned before, but it just doesn't really have that nice clickbait aspect to it yet. So, you know, I guess he could work on it a little bit more, but I mean, to say that a UI is a true next generational leap is pretty fucking sad, to be honest, bro. It's a glorified menu, but I guess some people are buying a PlayStation 5 for that next generation UI, bro. You know, I guess that is a thing. You know what they say, man, different strokes for different folks, but I just want you to keep something in the back of your mind, because at the end of this video, this dude literally admits that this entire video was completely pointless, and, you know, Xbox's UI running at 1080p is not a problem whatsoever, but, you know, he needed to hype it up for the sake of shitting on Xbox for his PlayStation 5 fanboy audience. But you know what, screw it, man. I'm just gonna go ahead and play the clip now. Just, you know, keep this in the back of your mind as we watch the rest of the YouTube video.
Because we also heard from Jeff Grubb. He came out and told us that Microsoft basically said to everybody who they gave an Xbox Series X to not to dwell too much on the UI and the overall UI experience, because they are updating it, and that update will come out before, I'm assuming, before the Series X actually launches. So it seems likely that this is going to change. Microsoft said it themselves. They didn't want these individuals to focus on the UI and most likely the resolution of the UI, because it will be updated. And I guarantee you that update will be 4K.
So, you know, calling this dude disingenuous is probably the understatement of the century. But anyway, guys, you know, without further ado, let's go ahead and check out this fucking fantastic YouTube video.
Alright guys, in today's video we have some very interesting next-gen console news and info to go over and discuss. I'm sure this is going to be a very interesting conversation. We recently learned that the PlayStation 5 UI is running at native 4K with some HDR elements.
Well, thank God, man. I can sleep easier at night knowing that my PlayStation 5 UI is going to be running at native 4K and have some HDR elements to it, dude. You know, that really takes a weight off my shoulder.
And we also learned, based off of some reports that are coming out, that as of right now, and I have to emphasize that, as of right now, the Xbox Series X UI is apparently only running at 1080p resolution, which is interesting to say the least.
Yeah, do you remember that clip I showed you before we started watching this video? Well, yeah, it just really proves how fucking pointless this entire YouTube video is, but hey, gotta find any reason to shit on the Xbox. Like, honestly, it's kind of sad, dude. Like, I'm being turned into an Xbox fanboy by these PlayStation 5 fanboys, because, you know, if it was Xbox fanboys saying dumb shit like this on a regular basis, and I was making videos making fun of them, I would probably be a PlayStation fanboy at this point. I don't know what it is, but for whatever reason, console fanboys are the best advertising for the opposing console, bro. Like, honestly, the fact that there's so many PlayStation 5 fanboys makes me want to like the Xbox, because I have to fucking defend it so frequently in order to make fun of these retards.
There's also something else I do want to mention briefly, and that has to do with just how well this video is doing over on the official PlayStation YouTube channel.
8 hours later.
If you wonder why Sony didn't double down on trying to make the most powerful console in the traditional sense and just focus on how many pixels they're going to push on screen,
I'm just throwing it out there, man. Be glad I skipped like almost 3 minutes of him sucking off the UI, dude. Like, it was actually painful to sit through. But I find it pretty ironic that he's literally sitting here saying that Sony's not concerned about pushing the most pixels on the screen, and that's not what he's worried about when it comes to next gen, when the entire point of this video is him literally bitching about Xbox not pushing enough pixels on the screen when it comes to their UI, bro. Like, you literally cannot make this shit up. This man is a walking contradiction, which, I mean, to be fair, is nothing really new when it comes to fanboys.
it's because they understood that, you know what, that's not the only thing that defines a next-gen experience. You look at what they're doing with the DualSense.
That controller is not next gen, it's a fucking controller, dude. This dude is literally just ready to slob on the knob of Sony at any given opportunity. Like, they literally just packed in all the gimmicks from like the Nintendo Wii and Nintendo Switch into a regular DualShock controller, and they're acting like it's some fucking revolutionary thing, bro. But hey, man, PlayStation fanboys, if you want to be excited for this shit, who the fuck am I to stop you?
You look at what they're doing with the UI. There's a reason why people are so excited for this. It's because they're actually trying to do things differently.
I mean, he's saying that they're doing something different here, but I swear to God, bro, like, I've seen this UI before. I just cannot put my finger on it, bro. It looks so similar. You know, the whole functionality of having a small side panel over to the left or the right of the video game you're playing that has, like, your friends list, your achievements, maybe a video. Dude, I swear to God, I have seen this shit before somewhere. I just can't fucking think of what it... Oh, wait, it's the Xbox One.
Gaming. Hi, we're here with the Xbox One, and I want to show you how you can do two things at once with the great new Snap feature. Let's take a look. All right there, and if I want to go back to the game, double tap the controller, and I'm racing while I'm watching the activity feed. I can literally do two things at once. I can surf the web while I'm racing. So examples of things that might be helpful for you when you're playing a game. You might want to go out to a site like Machinima and get access to some of the videos they've got for game level walkthroughs. Here I am watching ESPN while I'm racing Forza Motorsport 5. So you can imagine you can keep track of the NCAAs or your favorite team and race your car. Two things at once.
It is kind of weird looking back on the Xbox One, though, like with today's lens, because you're like, okay, most of the shit that Microsoft was trying to get away with back then, like, who the fuck cares now? Like, always online? Most people don't play video games offline anyway, and most games require internet to play. On top of that, most people buy digital now, so used games aren't even a fucking thing. And, you know, the whole creepy Kinect aspect, well, now most people have a fucking Alexa in their house, so they don't give a shit. Like, it's really weird. Like, the console was almost ahead of its time, to be honest. But, you know, according to this guy, we have never seen anything like this before, dude. Sony is doing something completely different.
They're actually trying to do things differently. And this is very different to the approach that Microsoft has been taking, where even though Microsoft is trying to, you know, convince us, well, I mean, they are next-gen consoles, but I'm saying the word convince because...
I mean, I don't really want to hear this dude explain why he used the word convince, but on top of that, dude, like, how fucking ironic is it that he's talking about how great Sony is for trying to do something different when Microsoft literally did this exact same thing 7 years ago, dude? Like, I don't care if you're the biggest PlayStation 5 fan on planet Earth, dude. I don't care if you're excited for this console. I don't care if you hate Xbox. You have to appreciate the fact that this motherfucker has so little self-awareness that he is literally praising Sony for quote-unquote doing something different, where these motherfuckers literally copied a 7-year-old UI functionality from the Xbox One, dude. I mean, I don't know how you cannot appreciate the irony of this situation. Like, this man is absolutely pathetic. This is the definition of a fanboy.
They're, you know, talking about how powerful the Series X is and all these things that they're doing, but other than that, everything else about the next-gen Xbox experience just feels like an iteration and not an innovation. To whereas I feel like a lot of what Sony's doing does come off as genuine attempts to innovate. And I have to give them credit for taking that risk because they could have played it safe.
I'm just curious, what does next generation mean to you? Does it mean like having a different menu pop up when you turn on the console? Like, is that what next generation is to you? Because I highly doubt anyone is going to go out and buy a PlayStation 5 because of this UI demo. Like, this is so fucking stupid, because if that was the case, everybody would have gone out and bought an Xbox One back in the day because they had these exact same features back then, and then some, dude. Like, you could even argue the Xbox One was the most feature-rich console on fucking planet Earth, bro, and it didn't work out for them. People buy consoles and upgrade their hardware to get better performance, better visuals, and bigger games overall than what was achievable on the previous generation. These little software gimmicks are not what makes a console next generation. I mean, it is absolutely amazing. Like, the Xbox fanboys were doing the exact same shit last generation when the Xbox was less powerful than the PlayStation 4. They said that features are what made a console next generation, and now the fucking Sony fanboys are doing the exact same fucking... It is absolutely amazing to me, bro. I mean, it's like a constant source of entertainment. These motherfuckers are constantly moving the goalposts, and you just really love to see it.
They really could have. They could have made this UI look just like the PS4, saying if it's not broke, don't fix it, and called it a day and just, you know, offered some minor improvements. They could have just stuck with the DualShock 4 controller.
Bro, I swear to God, this man is about to pull an Apple. He's about to say Sony had the courage to force you to change everything that you own because they want to make more money off of you. Like, that's the only reason you can't use the DualShock 4 on the PlayStation 5 is because Sony wants you to go out and buy brand new $70 controllers. That's it. It's not because, you know, the PlayStation 5 controller is necessary to play all these next generation games, because these same next generation games are going to be on the fucking PC and the Xbox Series X, which, guess what? You could use a PS4 controller on PC and still play all these next generation games. I wonder why that works, but you can't do it on the PS5. Oh, it's because Sony can't make $70 reselling you a controller even though your old ones work perfectly fine. So, like, this is the type of shit we're defending now, dude. I mean, I swear to God, these fanboys are actually fucking pathetic, dude. But I'm sorry, guys. We should really just praise Sony for daring to innovate. They took a risk. They were willing to push the industry forward by forcing you to rebuy all your accessories. Thank you so much, Sony. We truly do not deserve you.
They could have just decided we're going to focus just on, you know, pushing out as many compute units in the console as we can to get the highest resolutions. They could have done all those things, but they didn't.
That's kind of a damn shame if you ask me.
And that's why I'm highlighting this. And it kind of, you know, helps us segue into the next conversation, which has to do with the Xbox Series X UI apparently running at 1080p. So obviously, if you listen to the video that Sony put out yesterday, one of the first things they said within the first minute or two was that the PlayStation 5 UI was designed for 4K TVs.
Wait, are you serious? I thought it was going to be designed for a CRT. Like, what the fuck, man? This is news to me.
4K HDR TVs specifically, and the UI will be running at native 4K with HDR elements.
Bro, what the fuck is an HDR element? It's either the screen is HDR or it's not. Like, what the fuck is this shit, dude? These fanboys just cling on to any fucking buzzword they can find.
Which is very cool. And I think most people, if not all people, could say that's really nice.
Yeah, man, I'm really hyped for those HDR elements. You know, that's definitely the reason I'm buying a PlayStation 5. Definitely not to play video games. You know, that's definitely not important whatsoever. I really don't give a shit about the performance in game. I really care about the fucking menu that I have to go through in order to start the game. I mean, you're 100% right.
Well, John Linneman of Digital Foundry kind of slipped up a little bit here maybe and said something. I don't know if he wasn't supposed to say this. I don't think it really matters. It was going to come out anyway, but he tweeted out, well, the big problem for me more than anything with the Xbox dashboard is the low resolution. I was disappointed with Xbox One X only offering 1080p UI rendering when the PS4 Pro did native 4K, but for 1080p UI to continue on the Series X, that's really not acceptable to me. And I have to agree 100% with John Linneman.
All right, I'm just throwing this out here. As someone who played primarily on the Xbox One X as like my primary console for over a year, I didn't even know this was a thing. But I did not know the UI was only in 1080p because at no point was I sitting there playing on my Xbox One X thinking, you know, I really like this UI and everything, but I really wish it was rendered in full 4K with HDR elements because I didn't even fucking notice, dude. Like, I don't know what normal human being is looking at their Xbox One X one day and they go, you know, I really like the UI, I'm enjoying the console and everything, but I noticed something, dude. I don't don't think this UI is being rendered in native 4K with HDR like, who the fuck even mentioned this shit? Like, I guarantee you, if you look at every single comment on any post surrounding the Xbox Series X UI before this tweet came out, no one mentioned, yeah, the UI looks great and all, but I really wish it was rendered in native 4K with HDR elements, because no one fucking noticed. This is the level these console warriors are willing to go to try and dunk on the other console, bro. Like, of all the things I could think about to bash a console for, this has to be one of the dumbest things I have heard in my entire fucking life, man. I don't even know what the fuck to say. If you needed any more proof the console fanboys are pathetic, look no further.
I know how people are going to take this. They're going to take this as you're just trying to start a console war. You're just, once again, trying to hate on Xbox. You know what? I don't really care. You can think what you want, because I realize at this point in time that it does not matter.
I mean, the truth hurts, bro. Get over it.
What I say, people who want to believe what they want to believe are going to believe that. They're not going to listen to what I have to say.
Oh, trust me, dude. We're listening, and that's why we're coming to the conclusion that we are.
But for those of you who are willing to listen and hear me out, I do appreciate that, because honestly, I think the overwhelming majority of people would agree with me when I say that John Linneman is correct here in saying that that does not come off as acceptable. A 12 teraflop RDNA 2 next-gen console that can't output the UI at 4K? Are you kidding me?
You know, we as gamers put up with a lot of shit in the video game industry, but I think it's this time that we all need to come together and draw a line in the sand and say, Microsoft, you've taken a step too far. You not rendering this UI in native 4K with HDR elements is unacceptable. It is 2020. We demand better. Even though this UI is a pre-release build and you've already said you're going to update it before release, and you asked people who are previewing the consoles not to talk about the UI because it's going to change before the release date, you know, we just cannot accept this. No one should buy an Xbox until we have confirmation that the UI will in fact be rendered in native 4K with HDR elements. Dude, I'm actually kind of impressed I kept a straight face during that. Like, is this the level we've reached at this point? Like, is this really the hill we're gonna die on here? You know, Microsoft rendering their UI in 1080p? That's the line we're gonna draw? Like, Jesus Christ, man.
Now, I have to emphasize something here, and that is, this will most likely change. At least it seems likely that it will, because we also heard from Jeff Grubb. He came out and told us that Microsoft basically said to everybody who they gave an Xbox Series X to not to dwell too much on the UI and the overall UI experience, because they are updating it, and that update will come out before, I'm assuming, before the Series X actually launches. So it seems likely that this is going to change.
And you wonder why people are just gonna assume that you're trying to make a fucking console wars video and get clickbait views from this shit, when you literally admit that this entire thing is probably a fucking nothing. It's probably a non-issue. No one should really even be worried about it, but yet here you are making a 13-minute long video, and you're gonna literally bash this thing for another 7 minutes for this exact reason, even though you literally say that it's subject to change and it's not the final UI, and they specifically asked people not to talk about the UI because they're going to change it before release. And you are honestly wondering why people might perceive this as a fucking console war video, when you quite literally left them no other way to interpret this video.
But what's interesting to me is the fact that there are so many people coming out of the woodwork all of a sudden to defend this. Suddenly, there's so many people who would actually prefer a 1080p resolution UI.
I mean, if it meant better performance in video games, I'd definitely take it.
From a 12 teraflop RDNA 2 machine. Now, I get it. I understand the arguments. We play games, not the UI. So let's free up as many resources as we can so we can allocate that to game development. I understand that.
I don't know, something about this video kind of tells me you don't.
However, there are a few things here that I think we need to kind of remember. The first being that this is a claim that's being made, while the Series S is a console that exists.
Dude, I can confirm that the Xbox Series S does exist. Thank you so much for the clarification.
Now, I could be wrong here because I'm not the most technical person in the world, but something just seems a little strange to me when I'm hearing that the number one focus should be, let's free up as much memory and as much RAM as we possibly can by making the UI run at 1080p on the Series X so it can be allocated towards the games.
I'm honestly kind of done at this point, man. Like, in what world is it a negative thing for a video game console to prioritize the performance of that video game over the UI? Like, the whole point of buying a video game console like the Xbox or the PlayStation 5 is to play video games. Why the fuck would you want them to sacrifice the performance of those games in order to run a UI in native 4K, bro? I can guarantee you on day one, this motherfucker could not notice a difference if Microsoft decided to run this UI in either 4K or 1080p. Like, no one's gonna see a red square on the Xbox dashboard and be like, oh, that's not true 4K. Like, who the fuck is gonna do that? It just shows you how ignorant this guy is. He is literally advocating for less system resources to be advocated for the actual games themselves in favor of rendering the UI in a higher resolution. I mean, it's almost like he's forgetting the entire purpose of buying a video game console.
When there's also a console tethered to the Series X with significantly less RAM and memory. So in other words, every single game that's going to be made for the Series X also needs to be made for the Series S.
Yes, and like the UI in this case, they could just lower the native resolution. Oh my god, problem solved.
Do you see what I'm saying here? It just doesn't really add up or make much sense to me.
Trust me, dude, we feel the exact same.
So if a single gigabyte of RAM for the Series X does need to be used to output a 4K UI, what is the big deal? How can it be a big deal when you also have another console that's tethered to this one with only 10 gigabytes of RAM?
Like, why are you assuming that the UIs have to be rendered at the exact same resolution on both consoles? Like, Microsoft already said the Series S is not a 4K console, so wouldn't logic tell you that maybe it's going to be in 1080p or 1440p? I don't know, man. That's kind of the vibe I'm getting from this entire thing.
That any game you play on your Series X needs to work on that console that offers 10 gigabytes of RAM. So to me, it just doesn't add up and it doesn't make sense. I could be off the mark here.
I don't really even think it's a question at this point.
But just looking at it from a surface level, it seems kind of strange to me. So if you are somebody who really doesn't care, then that's fine.
This video kind of tells a completely different story, if I'm being honest.
If you genuinely don't care, then there's no problem. And who cares, right? Like, if it's 1080p, no big deal. But I'm going to be honest right now when I tell you that if this was on the other side, if it was Sony coming out saying that we can't do or we don't want to do a 1080p UI, you know, or it came out that what we saw yesterday was in 1080p, I would be a little bit disturbed by that.
All right, let's keep it 100. You would not give a shit because you will slurp up anything Sony shits out with a straw. You would not care. You would downplay it at every single opportunity. You would act like it doesn't matter because guess what? It doesn't fucking matter. This is an absolute nothing. And the only reason you're acting like it's a big deal is because you think it makes Sony look better than Xbox. That is the simple truth of this situation.
So I just don't get it. It sounds like an excuse to me. And that's why I'm highlighting this, and that's why I'm focusing on it, and that's why I'm focusing specifically on what John Linneman is saying, because I think he is 100% correct when he says this is really not acceptable.
I mean, you're basically implying that Microsoft has said they're doing this to free up system RAM when they've never come out and actually said that. So basically, this is pure speculation on your part, and honestly, it's not really a good look, especially with how you're about to end this video in a few minutes.
Now, he says to me, making it clear that that's just his opinion. Just like what I'm saying right now is only my opinion. Again, if you are somebody who really does not care, then more power to you. But that doesn't mean that there's not going to be millions of other people who are sitting there thinking, really? Like, you're going to sell me this $500 next-gen 12 T-flop machine, but you can't even output the UI at 4K?
You honestly think millions of people are sitting at home thinking about this? Bro, you need to get off the internet. You have completely lost touch with reality.
And one last thing I have to say here, because I know I'm getting ranty once again, and I do apologize. Maybe I don't apologize, I don't know. This is how I talk sometimes. Look, for those who want to make it sound like the UI experience is really not significant at all, like I don't play the UI, I play games, you know what, that's fine. Again, more power to you, but you are being kind of ignorant when you say that.
For sure, dude, we're the ones being ignorant.
Because you're failing to realize, and again, this is why I highlighted just how popular, just how viewed this video was that Sony put out yesterday. you are failing to realize and acknowledge that there are millions upon millions of people who do care greatly about the UI, because they understand that whatever the UI experience is going to be like on these next-gen consoles is most likely the experience you're going to be getting for the next 5 to 8 years, depending on how long the generation lasts.
I mean, you're missing one key thing here. The resolution at which a UI is rendered does not affect the functionality or the feature set, bro. People are excited about the UI. No one is excited about the render resolution of the UI. People are excited to see the different ways they can use their PlayStation 5. People are not excited that they're going to be able to open their friends list in native 4K. No one fucking cares. Step outside of the console wars bubble. You are the minority, not the majority. A lot of people who are going to be buying the PlayStation 5 probably don't even have a 4K TV yet. That is the simple truth here. People are more excited about the UI and its functionality itself, not the render resolution, and I doubt anyone would cancel their PlayStation 5 pre-orders if they found out the UI was being rendered at 1080p.
So if there's something really not great about that UI, something you don't like, you know, and you're just not excited at the idea that you're going to be potentially looking at a 1080p UI for the next 5 to 8 years, yeah, that's a valid complaint and that's a valid concern, and that's going to not be a great thing for a lot of people.
I mean, I'm just wondering, is he's like showing this footage of going through the UI? Does that scream 1080p to you? Like, I don't even fucking think of a resolution. I think, oh, it's a menu that I have to go through to do shit that I don't really want to do so I can actually go play my video game. I mean, this literally has to be the most pointless console wars video I think I've seen in my entire life, dude. Like, even that crap gamer video we watched before this had a lot more substance to it.
And that's actually going to be a pretty big turnoff for them. So it may not be for you, but you cannot sit here and dismiss everybody else who does care, because believe me when I tell you, I bet you there's more people who would have a problem with this than not.
I mean, you really just have to love it. We're not allowed to sit here and make generalizations about what people don't care about, but it's perfectly fine for him to sit here and make generalizations about what people do care about. Funny how that works.
All right, it's just not acceptable, and here's where I'm going to end the video. I firmly believe and expect that the Series X UI will be 4K. That's how I'm going to end the video, because even though I could sit here and try to make fun of it, that's not what I'm trying to do. I'm just calling it out. Like, this is pretty bizarre. Microsoft said it themselves. They didn't want these individuals to focus on the UI and most likely the resolution of the UI, because it will be updated. And I guarantee you that update will be 4K.
And that's basically the end of the video. He literally just admits that the entire 12 minutes up to that point were a complete waste of everyone's time, you know? I guess I can kind of respect the honesty, but I don't really know what else you expect from a console fanboy, to be honest. They're always a waste of time, but, you know, it's an entertaining waste of time, I guess you could put it. But if you did enjoy the video, make sure to drop a like on it. I would greatly appreciate it. This was definitely a long one. It's like 6 a.m. right now. I'm literally having to pull an all-nighter just to have time to upload, because my school, for whatever reason, decided, oh, the 2 weeks you have midterms, well, every single class is going to assign you multiple projects that are due in the next week or two. So good luck, man. You know, honestly, it's really shitty, but, you know, that 3090 cop really made life a lot better. But anyway, guys, you know, hopefully there'll be more videos soon, you know, as school kind of slows down and gets back to normal over the next week or two. So I'm going to try to upload as frequently as possible. You know, I'm at a point where it's like, fuck college. I don't really give a shit at this point. I'm just trying to graduate, bro. Like, grad school has been a complete pain in my ass, and I'm at kind of the point where I'm just like, fuck it, bro. But anyway, I'm sorry for like rambling on at the end here. You know, I probably should wrap this shit up. This video has been more than long enough. So with that said, guys, I want to thank you all so much, as always, for taking the time out of your day to check out this video, and for all the recent support as well. You guys are the fucking best. I really do appreciate it so much that you take the time to check out these videos, man. Like, it's really fucking awesome, and I'm glad you guys enjoy these videos as much as I enjoy making them. So with that sappy shit out of the way, I will catch you guys next time.